In the last 2 years, I've gained over 10 million followers on social media, and my following will continue to grow in the next months and years. And if you're about to implement all the tips that I'm going to share within this video, I can literally guarantee that you can skyrocket your following on Instagram. This video will consist of 10 parts that are all as important as each other, so make sure you watch until the end, because otherwise you might miss out on some vital information that might slow down your growth. In case you're wondering why you should listen to me, well, my name is Luke and I'm the face behind some of the biggest brands on Instagram, and I'm running over 15 plus faceless Instagram pages in different niches, so trust me, you're in good hands. Now with that said, let's actually get into the 10 keys that you need to focus on in order to skyrocket your Instagram following. The first key to growth is branding. And if you're watching some of my other videos, you know that I'm always talking about this, because this is simply the most important thing when you want to grow a following. If you take a look at all of my pages, you can see that they're all clearly branded and have a strong brand identity by posting a similar style content and also having the same colors coming back in the logo, the content, and basically everything that comes with the page. If you don't have a proper branding and your content is all over the place, your logo isn't optimized, your name isn't optimized, your content, style, colors is all over the place, you're basically doomed to fail. So what I recommend to do when it comes to branding is to have a proper logo, name that all matches basically what the page is about. And then with the content, you need to stick to a particular style. And if you take a look at the biggest pages on Instagram right now, they're all super recognizable. You can always see what kind of colors they use. And that's how they basically stay in your mind. And that's why they get such popularity, because everyone knows them and they know what they're about and they know what kind of content they can expect. They know what the content looks like, so every time they post, people recognize it and they engage with it because they simply like it and they know what the page is about. So people that are not interested in it are of course not going to follow it. So if you don't do that, and one day you post about sports, the other day you post about cars or whatever, your audience is gonna cross and it's simply not gonna work for the long time. Maybe you have a viral video here and there, but it's just pure luck. And you don't want to rely on luck when you're building a social media brand. So make sure to stick to one type of content, stick to one type of design and color, and keep doing that, because that's the only way to build a long-term Instagram brand. To actually give you some examples of the pages I'm running and what kind of branding I'm using for them. For example, the page that I have, Mindset Raptors, you can clearly see that in all the content I use the black, white, and gray colors, and because of that the page is just super aesthetic. People know what kind of content to expect because it's all about motivation and improving yourself, and because of that the engagement is just super high, and I've been able to grow this page to over 1.1 million followers. Another example is a page called Opus Reality, and this one is my favorite page by far, and you can see that I'm using this cartoon style and it comes back all the time in the content, and I'm also always using the same style, so every time people look at my page they know what kind of content they can expect when they follow me. And because of that, the conversion on followers is super high and the engagement is super high too, as this page is averaging over 100,000 views on every single post that I do. Alright, the second key to growth is your content strategy. And to be honest, it just depends on what kind of page you have. It's always important to look at competitors and see how often they are posting, and you want to replicate that. Now, when you're starting out, I recommend to not post too often. I recommend doing like 1 to 2 times a day and only do reels in the beginning, because if you're gonna do normal posts or carousels, you're not gonna get a lot of reach. I recommend to do reels up until you hit like 10, 20, 30,000 followers, and from then on you can experiment with normal posts or carousels. When you do a normal post or carousel, I recommend you to add music to it, because for some reason it goes viral way faster than if you don't add any music to it. But again, when you're figuring out your content strategy, it's just important to look at competitors that are growing and replicate that, and of course stick to one type of content. Speaking about content, let's move on to key number 3, which is to use Instagram trial reels. Now basically what this does is that it shows your piece of content to non-followers only. So normally when you put out a piece of content, it gets shown to followers first and then to non-followers, but with trial reels it only goes to non-followers, so Instagram can get data on what people to target and what kind of audience actually likes the content that you put out. Now the trial reels itself barely go viral actually, but it's just a good way to give Instagram data, so that way they can push out the content you actually publish to your feed to the right audience, so you have a higher chance of actually going viral. Now in order to actually post trial reels, just go to Instagram, select a reel, and just before you post it, you have the option to select trial reel, and that's how simple it is. There's no limit on how much trial reels you can post, so I recommend doing 1 or 2 a day so you can give Instagram the data it needs to actually go viral. The fourth key to growth are the Instagram captions, and this is super overlooked and a lot of people don't put any effort into this, but it's super important because Instagram partially determines whether your content goes viral based on watch time, and if you can let people stay an extra couple seconds because of your caption, that might make or break your post. So when it comes to the Instagram captions, I recommend you to use a specific framework. For the first step, you want to use a hook. So this can be something funny or a question or just something related to the reel where people might want to comment something about. Then for the second part, you want to use something informational. You can give some value or you can give a summary of the piece of content that you put out. For the third part, you want to use a call to action. So this can be a call to action to follow you, to share it with other people, or it can be a call to action to your product that you might be selling. And then for the fourth part, you just want to use the hashtags. Again, this is super simple, but it's super important. And also, if you have a lot of keywords within your caption, it lets Instagram know what your piece of content is about so they can actually reach your target audience. Now, if you need any help with finding the right captions, what you can just do is that you can take examples of other pages and put them in ChatGPT, and it's literally as simple as that. The fifth key to growth is your Instagram bio, and this is probably one of the most important things also about the branding side of your page, because the Instagram bio is next to your username and your logo, probably one of the first things that people might see about your page. So what I want you to do is, again, to follow a framework that I always use for my pages, and the first part of your bio should always consist of something that your page is about. So for example, what I would do for a page in a motivational niche, I would have a line that says, hey, this is the hashtag #1 motivational page on Instagram, something like that. Then the second line can be a bit more custom to what you like. I always have something about me personally, or like an email where they can contact me for any potential business. And then for the third part of your bio, you want to use a call to action to either follow you or to link them to your product. But I wouldn't use like a super simple thing like, hey, follow me for more content. Have something, you know, where they can be part of a community. So instead of saying, hey, follow me for more content, be like, hey, join the movement or join or motivational community or whatever niche you're in. So that's super important when you want to have a bio. Just make sure that people know what your page is about, who's behind it, and where they can contact you basically. Key number 6 is super simple and straightforward, and it's to just turn off recommendations on Facebook. The reason for that is that we want to grow on Instagram. And if you have it turned on, what's going to happen is that some of your reels are going to get pushed out on Facebook. And now you might be having a viral reel that's gotten, for example, 1 million views. But if 999,000 views are on Facebook, it's completely useless and it gives you the wrong information, because we only want to double down and recreate content that went viral on Instagram. So what might happen is that you have a viral reel and it went viral on Facebook, and then you're going to recreate that style of content more and more and more on Instagram. So you're basically modeling a concept that doesn't work on Instagram. So just simply turn it off. It's going to save you a lot of stress. The 7th key is to use collab posts on Instagram, and this especially works when you're just starting out or when you have a super big page, in order to get some more momentum and some more consistent followers. So what you can do is that you can find similar people with the same size page in your niche and just simply do collab posts. So for example, on my page Mindset Raptors, every single day I do a collab post with other people within my niche that have, for example, 1 million followers, 2 million followers. And because of that, I also get part of their followers to my page. And that helps me grow the page more and more and more, because those people are already interested in motivational content. So it just gives the page more momentum, more engagement, and more followers, which is also going to push out other content so your page can grow even faster. The 8th key to growth is to use Instagram sounds. And this is super easy. So instead of adding your background music in your editing software, what you can do is that you can take the video and add a sound on Instagram manually. So you can add it, for example, when you're about to post the video, you will have a section where you can add music, and most likely you will see audios that fit your niche or are trending. There's also a section on Instagram with just trending audios only. So what you can do over there is that you can save some of them which you think would fit your video well. Now there's also this trick which I personally use most of the time, is that when you want to use your own audios, you can do that as well. Now, before you post a reel, you can still add an audio on Instagram, but what you can do is you can just put the volume at like 1% so you don't even hear it within the video. I personally believe that if you add audios from Instagram itself to your reel, it gives you a higher chance of going viral. So I definitely recommend to use that. Now we're almost at the end of the video, but the 9th key that I'm about to explain to you right now is probably one of the most important ones, and that is to train your account. So what I want you to do is that if you have a page about health or food, that you only interact with people that are within your niche. Basically what you want to have is that your explore page only is niched content and what you post as well, because this lets Instagram know that you're interested in that content. And when you then also put that type of content out, you have a higher chance of going viral. Because if you have a page, for example, that's all about food, but then you only interact with dog content or whatever, Instagram is going to get confused. So what I recommend to do is to, especially when you're starting out, is to just interact with other people within your niche, so Instagram knows what your page is about, what you're interested in, because it's going to help you later down the line. So don't skip this. And also make sure that you have a separate personal account. So don't do any personal stuff on your Faceless page, because it's going to get the algorithm confused and it might lower your views. Now, the 10th and final key to growth is to use hashtags and keywords on your post. Now, this is not gonna get you millions of views instantly, but it just lets Instagram know what your posts are about, and it might just be a little tweak that can make or break your content. But again, this is not a major thing, because in the end, it all comes down to posting quality content, but it can just help Instagram redirect your content to the right audience. Now, in terms of hashtags, I always recommend to do 5 to 10 hashtags that are super related to what your content is about. So don't go with the obvious and broad hashtags, only because they rarely work. And for the keywords, you can just simply add them just before you're about to post. But again, this isn't gonna get you millions of views over time. It just helps you to get in front of the right audience. And then of course, it's up to you to post high quality content that people engage with so you can grow your page. My name is Luke, and I hope this video was valuable. And if you implement every single tip that I gave you in this video, you're for sure on track to grow your page and make some big things happen this year. Now, if you would like to work directly with me, then make sure to click the link down below, where you can find some more information about how I can personally help you build or scale your Instagram page. With that said, make sure to like, subscribe, do all that stuff, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.